Welcome back to HPL. We saw Zalae take a 2-1 lead over Neirea after losing game 1. He's won the last 2. And you know what? This Team Archon is putting the world on notice. You got to be ready for Snipe when they're playing Hunter.
Of all the cards that I expect to see, Snipe is usually not on my radar, but they've been using it to full effect. Purple was able to swing a game around with it, and in this last game, Zalae was able to take out an Azure Drake with a Snipe. Just perfect timing as far as he's concerned. And
yeah, it was absolutely backbreaking in that game. Neirea never really got anything going or really got back into the game after that. And we're going to see how game 4 matches up here. Neirea versus Zalae.
Yep, Zalae looks like he's going to continue to use a Hunter strategy here. I mean, those 3 cards look like they belong in Hunter, but Neirea, he's going over to Rogue and Goblin Auto Barber. It's something, these trends have been catching on so quickly, and we see them rotate in and out of the metagame. It's just like wildfire the way these decks roll around. I mean,
yeah,
who comes up with this stuff?
Yeah, I felt like it was a day or 2 ago we saw the Goblin Auto Barber decks getting popular, saw them all over Twitter, and now everyone's playing it. We've seen multiple people play it here tonight on HPL, and here we are seeing it yet again.
Yeah, Hunter is going to be the play from him. Sludge Belcher even in this deck, so no early action, but once again, this is more of a mid-range strategy. So his first couple turns not being the best doesn't always spell the end for him unless he's facing down a lot of pressure.
Yeah, Neirea has the other end of the spectrum now with the Rogue deck. He has a handful of minions.
So Zalae, no action till turn 3, but his actions are pretty good. He's got Animal Companion if nothing hits the board, and he's got Eagle Horn Bow in case he wants to answer something. Maybe like a, say Neirea wants to get a little bit aggressive and play like an SI7 agent here. I fully expect him to play something like a Goblin Auto Barber this turn. He just wants to get something on board to start getting this damage rolling, but Blood Mage Thanos is also acceptable.
Yeah, Blood Mage is acceptable as well. He's got a pretty good next turn. He can play a Pilot Shredder. He can weapon up, play Goblin Auto Barber, depending on what Zalae does here or what he gets off of his Animal Companion. And he's even got SI Agent if something crazy happens as well. So he's got a lot of things covered over the next turn.
Yeah, I would have loved to see that Haunted Creeper on turn 2, but it's, turn 3 is just going to be this Huffer that's going to the Dome, and Neirea, a couple different ways to deal with this. I don't expect him to take a bunch of damage to handle this.
Yeah, you may see him just waste this coin here.
Yeah, just going to go ahead and float a mana and make sure he takes out this Huffer, but it's one of those threats you absolutely have to deal with. And now Zalae, a couple different options on him. We're going to have to see which direction he wants to take.
Yeah, even if he has an anti-heal bot in his hand, he can't take an extra 4 damage here from this Huffer. He can't let a Huffer deal 8 damage to him over the span of this game. He's going to be falling way behind if that starts to happen.
Zalae's hand continues to get heavier and heavier as well. Eagle Horn Bow will help him answer things as he's moving along, as well as develop Sludge Belcher, so I love this play from him. We talked about how players love options in terms of how they choose to use their cards. Zalae has been using it to maximum effect. It's been working out beautifully for him.
Sap added to Neirea's hand here. That is going to be a good one going forward.
Yeah, absolutely wonderful draw from him, able to continue this pressure. But Zalae's hand's starting to kind of come together now. Multiple things that he can do every single turn. I still think this Sludge Belcher is very powerful, but something he has to consider is how a card like Sap or Eviscerate is going to affect his turns moving forward. He doesn't want to play too heavily into things. He's going to start by taking out this Piloted Shredder. His life total starting to fall into a dangerous range.
Good one for him here, too.
Yeah, beautiful one. I mean, if there's a minion that he wanted to see, it was exactly Ancient Watcher, because these Rogue decks do not play ways to silence minions typically. Sap is how they're going to deal with any of those big threats that have powerful effects attached to them.
Yeah, we've seen Ironbeak Owl, I think, in 1 Rogue deck here in HPL. I think there was Dog on like day 1 or something like that. We haven't seen anything resembling a silence effect out of a Rogue deck since, and I seriously doubt we will. So this Ancient Watcher, all but a dead card for the rest of the game.
Freezing Trap is an excellent pickup too. Going to be able to check this Azure Drake if he wants to, and then put some threats behind it. And sort of, we talked about how Zalae's hand's coming together. Now it's becoming almost complicated exactly how he toys with things and make sure he moves around. The last thing he wants to do is be giving up this Sludge Belcher for free. So I fully expect him to use Freezing Trap, and he's going to throw Piloted Shredder along with it. Wants these resilient threats.
Yeah, I really expect him. He has to start managing this board a little bit. Letting Blood Mage Thanos and Azure Drake sit on the board for too long is a scary proposition out of any deck, especially a Rogue deck when they start having things like backstabs and stuff going on.
What a draw from Neirea too. Just backstab perfectly for this Piloted Shredder. Gets a little bit more information. Not going to be useful to Zalae this turn, but it is a 3/2 minion, so something to take into account. This Freezing Trap going to return Azure Drake, and now how does he move forward from here? Still got to deal with the Sludge Belcher at some point.
Yeah, he still has a Sap for the Sludge Belcher if he wants to dagger up Goblin Auto Barber and Sap here. It matters how much, yeah, I was going to say, this is going to be his turn. Get a little bit of tempo back, and he's able to kill the Sorcerer's Apprentice here as well, so it's a very clean, very tempo-oriented turn from Neirea here.
Yeah, Zalae's going to have no shortage of turns to follow this up, though. Sludge Belcher, it's a good minion to Sap when you have a lot of pressure, not one when you're just trying to be the responding player. So I fully expect Sludge Belcher to hit the board again, and it's going to be coupled with either Mad Scientist or Haunted Creeper, I think.
Yeah, Sludge Belcher's going to be good here, but Neirea has a couple of tools to get through this. He has a Tinker Sharpshot Oil. He has a Deadly Poison. If he picks up something like a Blade Flurry, you can see some gigantic turns out of him over the next turn or two.
Yeah, you know what's funny is that this Ancient Watcher sitting on the board, Neirea would rather this just be a 0-0 at this point because the Tinker Sharpshot Oil can actually fall onto the Ancient Watcher.
Yeah, that is something that is going to come up in this game, and Neirea is going to be very unhappy if the Tinker Sharpshot Oil makes a 7-5 that has no other text.
Yeah, we've already seen Snipe from Zalae too. Is that still in his deck, I wonder? Something else to consider from Mad Scientist is that this could potentially be buying him tempo in terms of Neirea's board development. He's going to have to be careful with his sequencing after that because he knows that card is available.
Yeah, it was something that I was going to bring up if it came up in this game. If a secret was out and you saw Neirea really tank on his turn on what to do and see if he was going to play around Snipe. Because, you know, what is worse? Snipe or the threat of Snipe sometimes is actually even worse.
Yeah, I mean, it can kind of go either way. Yeah. Savannah Hyman is what Zalae's going to go with here, and I actually really love this play. Again, he's not under a ton of pressure. He knows that Tinker Sharpshot Oil can still fall on this Ancient Watcher, so not 100% chance to be able to utilize it as far as he's concerned from Neirea's perspective. And at this point, he's already seen a sap also, so if this sticks to the board, this is terrible for Neirea. The last thing you want to have happen is Savannah Hyman go unchecked for a turn.
Yeah, absolutely. And his hand is not great going forward from here. He's got 2 sprints and an Agidrake that he's not going to really have time to do a whole bunch with. He's going to buy some time here with his Antique Healbot, gain 8 life, and re-dagger. But again, he's starting to fall a little behind. You know, Zalae is at 18 and Neirea is at 25, but Zalae's going to start to really push forward here, and he still has that Sludge Belcher in his hand to sit behind going forward.
Yeah, I wonder if he's going to favor like minion trading in this spot because Neirea's being a little bit more aggressive, or if he's going to try to just start ending the game. I mean, he sees that this Savannah Hyman did not get sapped this turn. This may, for him, signal his window of opportunity to play the second one and start really pushing for a massive amount of damage. And with that kill command, that's what I fully expect to happen.
Yeah, adding kill command to your hand, adding a 5 damage spell to your hand changes quite a bit. Now Neirea is effectively at 20. You can attack him down to 14 effectively. So you have to, you know, change up your mind a little bit here on this turn. Again, he doesn't have the super cleanest turns unless he wants to go like Hyman, Mad Science or something this turn, but then he's taking a lot of damage on the way back, and he has to be really careful about taking too much damage on the way back. I think the Sludge Belcher has to get in play.
I mean, it definitely could. I mean, he does have to consider the amount of damage that Neirea can push through. So we're going to take... Excuse me.
Neirea has stuff like Tinker Sharpshot Oil, Deadly Poison, stuff to really push through damage, and if it doesn't land on his Ancient Watcher, that is a ton of damage that Zalae is going to have to deal with.
Yeah, I mean, all those things have to come into consideration too. I mean, he might just have enough to clear up what's on board and then have enough to push forward afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to see the Sludge Belcher come in and this Mad Scientist this turn. It looks like he's going to really start pushing for damage here over the next turn and try to get this game over with next turn.
Yeah, 6 crashing in. That's got to be a little bit uncomfortable for Neirea. Does get a South Sea deckhand, but no clean way to answer this Sludge Belcher right now unless this Tinker Sharpshot Oil falls right.
This gives him the 25% chance of getting it wrong now. And you know what? Look, there we go. Pretty good turn here from Neirea. He's going to be able to take care of the Sludge Belcher and push through what looks like almost lethal.
Yeah, lots of damage going to come crashing in.
He's going to get 9 in. It's going to be half of Zalae's life total. And then he's going to have a 7-point dagger sitting behind that.
Yeah, could go for,
Zalae's in a ton of
Could
pressure.
easily go for 10 damage as well. You know, if he trades off this Goblin Auto Barber and then puts the South Sea deckhand through the 1-2 and then just goes 10 to face. I mean, that's putting Zalae in a very uncomfortable position, I would say.
Yeah, you'll have Zalae at 8 damage with a 7-power dagger.
And 2 sprints sitting behind that too. I mean, very, you know, likely chance that he draws something like an Eviscerate with 5 cards being able to pick up next turn.
Yeah, just great turn here from Neirea. Great pickup in the South Sea deckhand, just increasing his chances of his Tinker Sharpshot Oil
would be lethal.
being very good.
Yep, no kill command here.
Yeah, you're going to see Zalae start to pick off minions here. He has to. The 7-power dagger is actually going to be lethal, you know, attached with anything from Neirea. So Zalae is going to pick off these minions. I fully expect to see that from him, and then develop his board and just hope and pray for the best.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to do something about the board position. He's facing on a 7-point dagger. You can't let that just sit around with another minion when you're at 8 health. So that trap, I think, could really dictate a lot of how he chooses to play this game. But that kill command might be pointed at that into Healbot. But something else to consider, too, is that if Neirea doesn't check the 2 Savannah Hymens that are going to be coming out this turn, he's actually dead. So he has to find a way to either do something about this board position or do something to kill Zalae. This turn is so important, and he's got a lot of draws to do it. He's going to start this with Sprint, and these 4 draws could end up deciding this game. Sap might give him enough time. No kill this turn,
No way to kill him this turn, but the sap, as you said, it has a chance to buy him enough time to get through this turn. Now, it's going to be interesting to see if he attacks with his weapon, because if it's explosive trap, he'll take an extra 2 damage here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's going to play around Explosive Trap this turn. He needs his...
Well, he can wait to attack and use Blade Flurry as a direct damage spell next turn.
Oh, with just the Azure Drake.
And he has the Azure Drake, so it'll actually kill him. Yeah.
Is he going to be worried about something maybe like Harrison Jones or Acidic Swampoo's, though? Or even
I don't
Snipe,
think you can
if
really
that's
play
a
around
Snipe, that's going to kill the Azure Drake.
Oh yeah, that's very true. We talked about this. The Snipe could come back to get him. So he is actually just going to go ahead and put Zalae to 1. Yeah, I think you just have to attack and make your
Kill command is still lethal here.
Your normal dagger lethal next turn.
Not a kill command, and that's going to do it. Zalae has no way to kill Neirea this game, and he's going to be sending this one to a game 5, boys. Strap in. This one's going the distance.
Wow, what a game. Neirea's going to win it with just a single point of damage from his dagger.
Yeah, I have to believe that Snap's still
He drew the Eviscerate anyway.
Still draws the Eviscerate, and that's going to do it. Going to use Blade Flurry to finish him up. Just a little bit of flair coming in from him, but wow, what a game from these two. Zalae didn't have quite the early pressure. You know, a little bit more in the early game, I think, would have given him enough damage to push for lethal in this game. But the fact that he had that little bit of a slower start and was forced to use his life total put a lot of pressure on himself, and Neirea capitalized.
Yeah, Neirea had some pretty good early turns, tempo-wise, to give himself enough turns to find lethal, and that's what happened. You got to see Saps taking care of Savannah high mains there, and then it got him the win.
Yeah, so excellent stuff from him. If you guys want to see exactly how this game went, head over to pvplive.net and see it for yourself. Full recap, stats breakdowns, everything you need to know about this game, these players, and their competitive history. So we're going to game 5, boys. Love the ones that go to the distance. Don't go anywhere. This match is deciding, or this next game is deciding who's taking home this match. You're watching Hearthstone on PvP Live.